Paper is fine. I use paper as well. So I'm just checking with you again to make sure that you have the materials in the proper time. But when we get to that, that's fine. Okay.
Sounds good.
I think we got our agenda worked out okay now. So we'll move into our general evaluator, David Marshall.
Good evening, friends, again. And my job is to evaluate the event generally. So, but I can't do that without some help. So I have helpers to help me evaluate everyone here so that we all grow. And then I will come back and evaluate the evaluators for our speeches. So first helper is our grammarian owner, Miss Asha. Miss Asha, could you please unmute yourself and kind of explain what your role is?
Oh, thank you. I was looking to unmute myself unsuccessfully. Yes, as the grammarian counter today, I will be obviously listening for I'm waiting for the script to open, so I would like to do this more formally. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. The purpose of the counter is to note words and sounds that are used as crutches or pause fillers by all of us, anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I will be listening for overused words, including and, well, you know, so, things like that. I will also be listening for filler sounds, including and I will also note when a speaker repeats a phrase, such as, this means I, and even the word and is a filler word. So I'll be listening for that as well. At the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker uses these expressions. So that is it for the counter. As the grammarian is listening to proper usage of the English language. I have an example here of something to listen out for, whether it's in our daily speech or something that we might take note of if we say it. And it's become very common in the last, I'd say 30 years for people to say theirs instead of there are. And it's something that I still do. I listen and I don't say there's 45 ducks in the pond. I say there are, but it has become a grammatical crutch. I would just like to remind us all that even if we're not in the habit of speaking in a more formal or using language more formally, we might want to reduce the colloquialisms that we use in this 2 hours. And back to you, Mr. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Asha, for explaining your roles. Our next helper is listener Elizabeth Clare. Could you please unmute yourself and explain your role?
Hi, fellow Toastmasters. The word of the evening is obliterate, which goes along with obliterating the Death Star. Obliterate used to mean to erase something from a text. It has part of the word is literate, like literature, and ob to take it out. But now means to destroy completely. Joe's memory was obliterated of the traumas he suffered as a child. Could not remember. So please use this word and I will give a report at the end of the meeting for those people who have used it. My other role is listen up. Speaking is only one part of Toastmasters. Listening is the other part. Without listeners, there's no point in our speaking. So I will be creating some questions based on the things people are talking about and test the group at the end of the meeting and give you a report. Mr. General Evaluator.
All right. Thank you, Miss Elizabeth Clare. Appreciate you. And also, we time everything we do because we have to stay on time. So we have a timer for this event is Miss Jamie Lee Mewson. So please unmute yourself and explain your role for our speakers, our table topics, and our evaluators. Thank you.
Good evening. So I will be the timer for the evening, and we'll be flashing green, yellow, and red cards as people are getting close to hitting their time.
All right. Thank you so much. Our speeches tonight, I guess, what would have Andrew Bullock is speaking and Mr. Hans is speaking. They both are 5 to 7 minutes. So I guess you'll flash green at 5, yellow at 6, and red at 7. Tabletop is always 1 to 2 minutes. So green at 1, yellow at 1.5, and red at 2. And then our evaluations are always 2 to 3 minutes. So green at 2. Cool. And we have a tabletop master so that we can practice our impromptu speaking. Our tabletop master is Table Topics Jedi Master, Zach Phillips.
All right, may the fourth be with you guys. I am your Table Topics Jedi Master. I prepared quite a lot of questions, way more than the amount of attendees thus far. We might get like an explosion of like 4 or 5 people, just random. But yeah, I'm going to consult, and sort of preen down the ones that I don't really like too much. A lot of them are fun. Most of them are fun, actually. They're all fun. But some of them are deeper. Some of them, require, maybe a little storytelling, imagination skills. Some, like philosophical. But having said that, it's all Star Wars related. And I pulled these from quotes, from the movies, and 1 or 2 from like a novel, and 1 or 2 from like a video game. So back to you, David Marshall, General Evaluator.
All right. Thank you so much. And I am very familiar with anything that has to do with Star Wars, Star Trek, or Star anything. So I will mute and turn off my video when Table Topics starts because I don't want to look like a fool. I'm joking. All of our roles. Yes, I'm going to turn this lectern back over to our Toastmaster of the evening, Mr. Lee Walker.
Thank you, David. First, Andrew, were you able to get a hold of Hans?
I called both phones. He did not answer, and then I sent him a text message, and I'm waiting for a reply.
Okay, thank you. We'll just move ahead. We're moving into the prepared speech portion of our meeting or our event this evening. Our speaker this evening is Distinguished Toastmaster Andrew Bullock. Title of his speech is Dark Deeds Indeed. He's working in Path Engaging Humor. Level 1, evaluation and feedback, speech number 2. Time of the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. This time, let's welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Andrew Bullock.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and Asha, our guest. It's nice to see you back here. Dark deeds indeed. So, in the spirit of May the 4th, I wanted to give a Star Wars speech. And the reason why is because, why not? What I wanted to talk about, though, is a really philosophical question. Are the Jedi heroes, or are they villains? So if you watch the prequel trilogy, the first three movies, episodes 1, 2, and 3, there's The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith. We find ourselves rooting for the Jedi. The Jedi are the heroes, like, they're the ones saving the galaxy, they're leading the army. But, I have to ask, are they really? It is stated in Star Wars that the Jedi were meant to be peacekeepers. But if they're peacekeepers, why are they generals in the clone army? It makes you wonder, right? The Jedi were so caught up in leading this war because for them it was a holy war. The Separatists were being led or controlled by their enemies, the Sith. And in order to stop the Sith, they had to be involved in every single part of the war. So, they tried to have a seat on the Senate to direct the Senate on how to handle this Sith problem. They led the clone armies in battle so that they would find opportunities to defeat the Sith Lord, specifically Count Dooku, who they knew for a fact was actively involved with the Separatists. But they're also hunting for Count Dooku's master, one that was known as Darth Sidious. And they spent the entirety of the Clone Wars, which was a war that went on for roughly 3 years, 3.5, almost 4 years, hunting for a Sith Lord. And what do you know? They eventually found him. Come to find out, he was a Supreme Chancellor. He was right there under their noses the whole time. Now, a lot of people ask, well, now that they know that he's there, I guess they have to kill them, right? Well, yeah. That's the Jedi philosophy, right? Kill the Sith? No. The Jedi are supposed to be peacekeepers. Murder is not what the Jedi do. And yet, the moment they found out that Palpatine was the Sith Lord they were looking for, what did they do? They went to arrest him. I didn't see any handcuffs, did you? All I saw was lightsabers. The moment the Jedi stepped into the office of the Supreme Chancellor, it was always going to be an assassination. And yet, we're supposed to root for the Jedi because the Sith are evil. But there's one thing that we're overlooking here. Whether or not Palpatine was a Sith Lord was a religious issue. And there's a separation of church and state, even in the Star Wars universe. So, let's just say that Mace Windu succeeded in killing the Emperor. How would that have worked? How would they have justified that to the Senate? He was evil. He was a Sith Lord. Okay, but he was a legitimately elected leader of the Republic. He hadn't done anything evil yet, because as far as the galaxy knew, he was respectable. He was their leader. They elected him to be Supreme Chancellor. And when the war started, they gave him more power so that he could end the war. He started the war. But where's the evidence? You know, you look at the Jedi actions and you have to ask, well, like, I get it. Like, this is what they do. They fight the Sith. But how does that work? Because even in a galaxy far, far away, there are still laws. And the Jedi, well, they tried to make the law their own and take the law into their own hands. They were judge, jury, and executioner the moment they stepped foot into that office to arrest Palpatine. There was no justification. And then, after the attempt on Palpatine's life, he reorganized the Republic into an empire, and he declared himself emperor, and he has all the Jedi executed. The official cause for this order was the Jedi committed treason. They had tried to assassinate the Supreme Chancellor. So, how did the Jedi respond? Well, a few of them went into hiding, and then about 17 years later, they take the son of one of the most powerful Jedi, they lie to him, and set him up to kill his father, who is the Emperor's apprentice, and the Emperor. Dark deeds indeed. These were supposed to be the peacekeepers, and yet, once again, they made the mistake of trying to overstep the bounds of being peacekeepers. So, with the evidence I presented to you, are the Jedi the heroes or the villains?
Thank you, Andrew. 1 minute on the clock. Jamie, that's something I forgot to mention in my text. We have 1 minute put for evaluation. So just
One minute has elapsed.
okay. Thank you, Jamie. Do we need to take a break for like 5 minutes, or do we want to just roll right into table topics?
Sir Cawley, this is your show.
Okay. This time we'll move into the table topics portion of our meeting. Let's call up our table topics master, Toastmaster Zach Phillips.
All right, just give me just one moment. Okay, all right. So thank you so much, Toastmaster Lee, distinguished Toastmaster Lee. Can I get volunteers, or do you want me to just start calling on people? Anyone want to volunteer? Asha. Wonderful, right? Okay. If you could unmute yourself as I find my questions. Okay, here we go. All right. So first one is help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope, isn't actually true. You are also the secret backup plan. Share a story about what the plan is and use a made-up character if necessary.
In this case, all of my characters would be made up because I know very few of them. I might have to decline this because I don't know who Obi-Wan Kenobi is, but I can say that having listened to Andrew, I am going to watch all of these movies. May I ask? I've only seen Attack of the Clones. May I ask who Obi-Wan Kenobi is?
Okay, a little background. This is Princess Leia saying it. Do you know who that is?
I do.
Okay, so Princess Leia is like one of the key characters of all 9 films, especially the first 3, or what is now chronologically the first 3. Obi-Wan is, well, I don't know. You sort of have to watch the movie, and then also I'd spoil it a little bit. So maybe we'll go to another one. Maybe.
Okay.
All right. So I'll give the story question to.
But I love when movies are spoiled.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That is not me necessarily. Let's see. Explain me. Are you familiar with the Yoda quote, "Do or do not, there is no try"?
I said it yesterday.
Okay, wonderful. Explain the importance of the quote, "Do or do not, there is no try," and tell a relevant story for this.
All right. I can't do the Yoda voice either. I just realized, and I would have liked to. In the circumstance yesterday where I was saying do or do not, there is no try, I was doing something very trivial and I was making chicken salad. I wanted it to be delicious, and for some reason, as much as I was trying, it was not working out. Well, it's because of a few things. I chopped my tarragon too small, so I couldn't taste the tarragon. And then I had the idea to break it into large strips, or not large strips, but large chunks. I did not put enough sea salt on, but because I was determined to make this edible and into the taste of my dreams, something like you could get at Whole Foods, I continued putting in lemon, and I had cooked the chicken down to a very soft, fatty, delicious mess, a creamy, delicious mess. I added an aioli. I put mayonnaise in there. I added lemon. I almost obliterated the taste of the tarragon, so I put more in. I had a pack, used it all, and then I added dill. Surprisingly, the dill made it that much better. Chopped up red onions so finely that for a moment it was all I could taste. And after that, I added some celery. I made myself a stew with all these different vegetables, large portobello mushrooms to make the chicken sing. And my little bit of one thigh for the chicken salad turned into a huge conglomeration of deliciousness when I added the necessary ingredients. As I was muttering to myself, because I wanted it to taste like one salad I'd had from Whole Foods once upon a time, do or do not, there is no try, and I did it. I wish I could share it with you all.
That's a great story, and I'm actually sort of amazed that you actually said "do or do not, there is no try" yesterday, even though you haven't even seen that movie. So wonderful. Any other volunteers? Should I just start picking people? All right, Andrew, I have a special one prepared for you. And this is actually from a video game, Knights of the Old Republic, spoken by the android HK47. He said, "Advice: any organic who lives within their means suffers from a lack of imagination. Do you agree or disagree with this?"
Well, that's my philosophy to never agree with anything that a hunter-killer droid says, so I'm going to say I disagree. And I have no basis for that other than the fact that a hunter-killer droid actually said that. There are so many things that... Oh, I lost my train of thought. Reread that again, please.
And this is also an Oscar Wilde quote as well, but any organic or person, for that matter, who lives within their means suffers from a lack of imagination. Do you agree or disagree with this? Obviously, you disagree.
Yes, I do. All right, I'm gonna start over.
I think that because you're sort of like a frugal sort of person.
Yeah, I am. So yes, the fact that that was said by Hunter Killer Droid is the reason why I disagree with it, and the reason being is, as you just stated, I myself am a very frugal person. Like I can pinch a penny. Like I can make $1 prepare a meal for an entire group of people. So, and it's not because I lack imagination, it's because I actually have a very active imagination and I can do things that I mean the average person would not be able to do, like bargain hunt and be creative. Like my creativity is what makes me such a frugal person. And so anyone who lives within their means is definitely able to survive, you know, by having an imagination. I mean, it takes that much to develop for example, Tammy or Asha just mentioned that she made a chicken salad. The average chicken salad, if you buy one in the store, is about what, $10 nowadays. If you were to buy one pre-made, it could easily be that much. If you were to make one, well, you're just gonna buy all the ingredients and put it together and hope it comes out good. But how much would it cost you? Some people would spend $20 to make a chicken salad. Some people would spend $30 to make a chicken salad. I can do it at $5. And that's just me. And that's because I have an imagination. I know how to shop for the right prices. I know how to be inventive with my ingredients and change the flavor a little bit so it's my own. And it's still a chicken salad. And it's affordable. So, yeah. HK47, I don't agree with what he says. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. I obviously knew what you were going to say in terms of disagree, but like it's great that you expounded upon it. I sort of have a puzzling feeling about all these questions. I'm glad that you shared your opinion on it, and it reminds me of the fact that like the reason why I'm making certain kinds of soap is because I have a plethora of certain types of tea, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm using my imagination, to constrain me to do that sort of product myself. So yeah, great. Any other volunteers? David Marshall? All right. Let's see here. All right. This is spoken by Obi-Wan Kenobi. Many of the truths we cling to depend on our point of view. Explain this with a story from your life.
One more time.
Many of the truths we cling to depend on our point of view. Explain this with a story from your life.
Many of the truths
we cling to depend on our point of view.
Oh yeah. I was turning my volume up to make sure I heard.
Okay.
Excuse me. Many of the truths depend on our point of view, basically is what you said. And because see, Asha's truth about her chicken salad, which I guess I don't know if she mentioned that she actually made the taste that she wanted from Whole Foods or not, but she did. So that's definitely her truth. It's her perspective. And that's exactly basically what you're saying. So I guess if I was to come up with a story from my past, I've had a very interesting past. And I guess everyone here knows that I'm a very spiritual person. I believe that there is a God and that sort of thing. So, but my truth when it comes to that is based on my perspectives from the way I grew up. So so my experiences growing up, for example, I was in the Merchant Marine and I was at overseas in foreign countries for the first time. There's several times where I literally got lost, had no idea where I was, no idea how I was going to get back to the ship, and I was a cadet. I had to be back in 15 minutes, or I was going to be punished, so to speak, given demerits and this sort of thing. And I just kind of literally walked around aimlessly, turned the corner, on the way back to the ship. I believe, to me, that's my God that I believe in is guiding me. So that's my truth based on my perspective. So I guess that's a story from my life. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics.
All right, thank you so much, David Marshall. Yeah, it's all about, coincidence and synchronicity. Is that God, or is that just, someone, just not someone, just randomness. I believe there's a God element to everything, a source element to everything, similar to David, if not very much like David. Anyone else? How about Tammy? Tammy, do you want to answer the help me on Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope isn't true? You're the secret backup plan. Share a story about what the plan is. You use and use a character if needed. That one, or do you want another one?
I will do my best, but a secret plan is a secret, and you want me to reveal it in front of everyone. I wouldn't be secret anymore if I did, and my top secret clearance would be completely obliterated. I mean, what am I supposed to do now? You've put me on the spot. So I will tell you a facet of that plan. And the plan is, in this world of duality, is to keep us always on the edge of our seats and always focused on the negative. And it's our job to keep focused on the positive so that we can defeat the negative. And I'm sure Obi-Wan Kenobi, being as wise as he is, would totally agree with that. So as far as telling you details of the secret plan, I cannot reveal them. But I hope you will remember that when you start to think really negative things, that you're just giving in and not do it. Remember to stay focused on the positive, and that will get you closer to the secret plan, which is much closer to the truth. Topic master.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I love to focus on the positive. It's not always very easy, like everyone's job, has some stress elements, It's so weird that, the universe sort of like picks that exact sort of thing that, you get most frustrated at. And, that's really just sort of like, oh yeah, I just gotta, just relax, let go, and just, do my best and focus on the positive. So any volunteers, or should I just continue to pick people? No? Okay, how about Anjeet? All right.
I will give it a pass. I don't know much about Star Wars. I just want to give it a pass.
Well, I'll give you one that, I mean, most of these questions, with the exception of the first one, that Asha did her best on and Tammy just excellently did, have little to do with Star Wars, I think. I forget what movie, I think it's Rogue One. There's a guy, and forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, Chirrut Imwe. Andrew? Okay, yeah, he says, I'm one with the Force is with me. And it's very like climactic, beautiful sort of thing. Like, I'm one with the Force is one with me. What is a mantra or repeated thing you tell yourself, or you should tell yourself, to get through the trials and tribulations of life? So what's a mantra that you use or want to use more to get through the trials and tribulations of life?
Yeah, so what I believe is I always have the faith in the trademark tag of Nike, which says "Just do it," and no matter what falls in front of you, just do whatever you can do from your side, and it will pass. And from different experiences in life, I realized that everything is a phase and it keeps on moving. So till there is life, there is hope. That is like one of my mentors told me about that. And I've always tried to believe that. But having said that, obviously there are days when it's hard to get by the things thrown at you. At that time, it's better, I think, just to refer to some pieces of motivation to keep your life state high and just move on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anji. Yeah, the Nike logo is a very, very powerful thing. I actually I have Post-it notes, all over this apartment, if you can believe it. I don't think any of them are clear, but in my bathroom, I have one that says, "Do it now and bring order to life," because I believe that order is heaven's first law. Having said that, it's chaotic in here, so I'm currently not, repeating that mantra enough. See here. Do you have time for a couple more? Probably do. All right, we'll just keep going. Mark off the ones that I've already done. Great, yeah, love it. All right. Okay. All right. Elizabeth? Elizabeth, Rio Church.
Wait. You haven't called on Sean yet.
All right, Sean, fine.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sean,
Throw the bus.
Maybe this one's destined for you, buddy. Die for one's people is great. Keep screwing these up. Die for one's people is a great sacrifice. To live for one's people, an even greater sacrifice. I choose to live for my people. Spoken by Rio Church. I believe it's in like one of the TV shows, cartoon shows. So share some thoughts on this quote and how you will live for your people.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that again?
To die for one's people is a great sacrifice. To live for one's people, an even greater sacrifice. I choose to live for my people. Share some thoughts on this quote and how you will live for your people.
So the quote's about living with my people?
No. Well, sort of.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you clearly. It's just,
yeah. All right. To die for one's people is a great sacrifice. To live for one's people, an even greater sacrifice. I choose to live for my people. Share some thoughts on this quote and how you will live for your people. Like live for others or whatever this quote means to you.
Oh, okay. All right. I see. So why I choose to live for others is a really powerful quote, and it really affects me a lot because whenever I go to my part-time job, which is the Harris Teeter store number 370 off of Farrell Parkway, and I'm stocking up those shelves. I'm bringing down the cheese and putting in the new cheese in the back and putting back the old cheese up front. And I just feel a sense of really powerful aura flow through my blood. Because it's like, trying to think of an example, but I feel powerful because I feel pride. I feel pride for all the previous fallen Harris Teeter employees that used to work at my store. I used to do the same thing that I did, and have moved on from the Harris Teeter endeavor, and I carry the title as a frozen / dairy clerk, and it means a lot. Seriously, it's like whenever I walk around the store, I hear voices of old, fallen, past Harris Teeter employees, and it's a little scary at times because I can hear them because you're not supposed to hear dead people, but It's powerful. If that makes any sense. Back to you guys.
Well, thank you so much. So your former employees are dead people? That's kind of creepy.
I guess it was on the top of my head. Couldn't think of anything better.
That's great. I was actually plugging in my headset, so I hope you can all hear me much, much better. Good attempt, and I'm sure you said something very impactful and amazing about your dead employees, former employees. So now on to Elizabeth or Lee. I think those are the two left, and Jamie. Jamie, all right. Let's see here. Okay. All right. Let the past die. Kill it if you have to. By Kylo Ren said that in the I don't know which movie. It was spoken by the anti-heroish character of Kylo Ren. Discuss your thoughts on this, especially given that it was spoken by a, quote, evil character. Let the past die. Kill it if you have to.
Let the past die. Kill it if you have to. Kill it if you have to seems a little bit harsh, but in some cases could be necessary. When I think of this quote, I think of different relationships I've had in my life that have been strained to different degrees, some more than others. And when I think of relationships that have been strained a lot more, those are pieces of my past that I think are healthy to remember, but also healthy to kind of let them, not necessarily let them die, but kill them out of necessity in order to more live in the moment and be content in the present moment. When I think of those pieces of my past, I still want to remember them and I think treasure certain parts of my life, but not continue to carry them forward into the future. Mr. Toastmaster.
Okay, thank you so much, Jamie Lee. Yeah, I mean, I see my mind as like a garden. You plant the seeds of thought, and sometimes weeds like bad memories, like really like infect your mind. But you have to just either plant nice healthy seeds, or let your weeds die, and like it's a really weird sort of process. But like I like Tammy said, I just got to focus on the positive. So yeah, that was a great answer. Time for two more. Lee or Elizabeth? Lee Walker.
Okay, I'm good.
All right. That's a little bit similar to the last question.
I think it'd be kind of interesting if they shared it.
Oh yeah, okay.
Try something different. So let's see if Lee can start and let's finish. How would that go?
Interesting. Let's see here. Master Yoda said, "Train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose. What do you fear to lose, and how can you train yourself to let go of it?" Difficult question, I know.
Can you repeat it again, please?
Train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose. What do you fear to lose, and how can you train yourself to let go of it?
Okay, that is a lot. It's kind of jumbled up or twisted, but okay. Fellow Toastmasters, Table Topics Masters, and guests. Well, I haven't really seen a whole lot of the more recent Star Wars movies. I'm more the original three that came back out in the 70s and 80s, and that's kind of where I'm stuck on those and not really much interest on the others. So I'm not real sure where that fits in the Star Wars thing, but I know I hear throughout life and just different experiences and groups and organizations I've been involved with, let go of things to make your life easier and just kind of let, just like was mentioned earlier, we don't really want to forget things in our past, even if they are bad or things we don't want to really remember, what we should, so we can learn from them and try not to make those mistakes again. And, if there's burdens on us and things on us, challenges, yeah, we need to try to find a way to either solve them, fix them, change them, or if we feel we don't have the power or the ability to make a change on it, just kind of let it go and turn it over to God or a higher power, or maybe you have a trusted advisor or a friend or a pastor or somebody or a family member that may be able to help you work through things. But really, just if things are kind of burden you, just kind of let it go. And yeah, it's going to still be there on your mind. And I just lost my thought. But yeah, I'm always trying to let go of things from the past, but I know I don't want to forget them, because I want to remember some of those things and learn to not make those mistakes and make better decisions and better choices. Mr. Table Topics Master.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lee. You don't want to completely obliterate the past memories, yeah, but I mean, you want to sort of resolve and reconcile with the past. I know I repeated myself quite a few times. I'll counter Asha. So time for one more. Elizabeth Clare, maybe? Okay, wonderful. All right, this one's a great one. It's going to be a long one too, but I think you'll really appreciate, it. It's from a novel spoken by a Jedi Master, but this has nothing to do with anything. I'll just read the quote and let you answer it any way that you choose. You feel empty. You feel alone, lonely, almost frightened, but also strong. Yes. The name for what you're the name for what you are feeling is freedom. How did you expect it to feel? You are free, and that can be lonely and empty and frightening, but it is also powerful. Do you agree or disagree with this?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, for that very intriguing question. Sometimes I feel empty because I just retired from publishing a newspaper, which I had done for 25 years. And I feel lonely because I don't have all those subscribers sending me orders or sending me questions. And it's sometimes frightening because what do I do next? Oh dear. Well, I could still write books, but it's not the same as being the owner of a big business, which happened to crash because of COVID closing schools, so we had no more orders from schools. So there's a powerful side to having lost a business and being semi-retired, and that is I don't have to. There's nothing I have to do. I could wake up in the morning and sit out on the swing with my dog on my lap and not have to do anything. And that is extremely powerful, except eventually I have to go to the bathroom, I have to make breakfast, I have to take the dog out again. So I like the power of being retired or semi-retired. And sometimes I'm frightened, like, oh, do I have enough money to live on? Will I live long enough? Things like that. So thank you for that very intriguing question, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Yeah, thank you so much, Elizabeth. Freedom is a very tricky thing to define. I mean, like, I'm just like you sometimes, especially, once I was furloughed and then fired from my old job. Like, I could do so many things, but yet at the same time, I couldn't really do much of anything. And so I was free in some ways, but, so I would just take lots of walks and, I even tried to do like a side hustle or two, so it's all sorts of other stuff. So yeah, it's very tricky to define freedom, and especially in terms of what that quote was talking about. So thank you so much, everyone. I know that some of these questions were rather tricky. Andrew, did you have a question related to The Mandalorian you wanted to ask me? No? I have like
I could ask you a question.
I have a baby version of your headset, by the way.
Okay. So, the Bounty Hunters Guild has a contract where they ask no questions, they just do the job and get paid. Now, if you were paid a lot of money to do something immoral, would you do it? And why? Or why not?
Thank you so much, Table Topics guest Andrew Bullock, for that great question. To do something immoral, like in terms of killing, but I mean, like doing it, like I have a very hard time even telling a lie. Like, I mean, like a lot of you have not met me in person, but like I like almost like as soon as I say, and I'm saying like a lot, and I'm aware of it, and I'm thankful for that. But anyways, I have a very hard time telling a lie. So just to be a bounty hunter and kill someone for money, that just seems I don't know if it's because of my upbringing. I don't know if it's because of just all the people in my life. I appreciate all of them, each for their own great way. Everyone in this Toastmaster group, most of my coworkers, if not all of my coworkers. So I wouldn't even steal from those people, let alone, kill them or anything like that. So I know that the Mandalorian code sort of gives them sort of like the freedom to, just kill without any emotion. I've seen plenty of people like that in novels, hopefully very few people like that in real life. And so I really sort of feel like that's the sort of thing that, authors and, people who write TV shows, movies can get away with. I mean, like, who can truly say that they could just kill in cold blood and not have any sort of conscience, about it? And just like later, even just like if it's like a minute later or like a year later or like a decade later, wouldn't have some sort of guilt on their heart. So I really, truly believe I don't know if it's disagree or agree, but basically I am not the kind of person who can do that. So thank you for that great question. Back to you.
Interesting that you went to kill. Well, thank you for your answer.
What other bounty is there?
Well, you gotta think about it. The Mandalorian, the plot line of The Mandalorian was that the Din Djarin was paid to turn over a child for scientific experimentation. And he broke his code to protect that
He's
child.
frozen.
And yeah, it's still immoral to turn over a child for experimentation, but still. At first, he took payment for it. He did the job, but then he turned around and rescued the child. He broke the code. So
Okay.
yeah, back to you, Mr. Tabletop Master.
Okay, so we're going to take a short break. Is that okay with you, Lee, or should we just go straight on through? Yeah, this has sort of been like a marathon between the speech and the table topics. So
Right. Okay, we can break for 5 minutes.
okay.
Timers report.
Oh, yes.
So for the timers report, AJ was at 6.5 minutes for his general speech. Asha for table topics was at 2:24. AJ 1:55. David at 1:50. Tammy at 1:17. Anjik at 050, Sean at 116, myself at 128, Lee at 220, Elizabeth at 133, and Zach, be honest, I think I messed up your timing and forgot to hit the timer, but you were somewhere around a minute and a half to a minute 45.
Okay. Oh, so do some polls, yes? Well, especially for the table topics. Andrew, you obviously won the speech. Bravo.
I didn't vote for Andrew.
Ha!
One more voter. Be shy.
It's probably that person off camera.
Who's that?
Elizabeth. I'll go ahead and end the poll. We can go on our break.
I like your background a lot, Andrew.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So what did everyone do today?
I was at a Toastmasters meeting.
Oh, great. Local?
Germany.
Oh,
That's interesting.
Yeah.
is it the one that Merrick used to attend?
Yes, he was the former president last year. So
That's
I'm
cool.
now a member of that group.
Oh,
And it's nice because it's at 7:00 their time, but 1:00 here on the East Coast.
oh.
That's different.
Yeah.
All right, so I have everyone table topics. You're not constrained to whatever the table topic question is. If you can't answer or you don't want to answer, you don't have to. All you need to do is use your public speaking, impromptu speaking skills to answer something within the time frame of 1 to 2 minutes. So I just want to encourage you, don't feel constrained. If you can answer it, or you don't want to, or you think you can, but halfway through you kind of get lost, just keep going. Like 1 to 2 minutes.
I don't get hung up on my horrible questions. There were a couple ones that I honestly could have written better or recited better. But having said that, I wanted to keep it Star Wars.
Interestingly, that point of view question really would have piggybacked off of my speech.
Oh,
that?
yeah, I thought that.
What'd you
Kylo
say?
Ren one?
I didn't catch you.
The point of view question would have actually piggybacked off of my speech.
Or no, wait, the one I asked David.
Yeah, the one that he asked you, David.
I might have picked up on that. I've had any idea anything about Star Wars, but I'm clueless.
So
I know it's a
backstory
movie.
behind that statement was that Luke Skywalker had just found out that Darth Vader was his father, and when he went to confront Obi-Wan Kenobi, he was like, "Why didn't you tell me?" And Obi-Wan tried to justify his response by saying, "What I told you was true from a certain point of view." And Luke was indignant. He's like, "From a certain point of view?" And he's like, "You'll find that a great many of our ideals that we cling to greatly depend on our point of view." Basically, because what he said was that Vader betrayed and murdered his father. That was his justification for saying that what he said was true from a certain point of view. And this was part of the Jedi's plot to set Luke up to kill Vader and the Emperor. By not telling Luke that Vader was his father, they had, and by telling him that he murdered his father, it's like, oh well, there's a vengeance right there. That's the motivation to kill the Sith.
The thing about these questions that I feel like I tried to make questions that you don't need to know anything about the Star Wars universe, but I guess a lot of people were just like, oh yeah, I haven't watched Star Wars. Haven't seen that episode.
I've only watched Clone Wars with my brother, but I grew up when I was a kid when the first one came out. So even though I don't know what the movies are about, you can't help but know some of what Yoda says, for example.
Sure.
It's part of the American lexicon at this point, if not the global lexicon.
Yeah, George Lucas got from Joseph Campbell, and Joseph Campbell deals a lot with mythology and like the hero's journey, and it's very I thought it was a very universal film on a deeper level, and that's why I pulled those quotes as opposed to Wookiees always win or something like that, or let the Wookiee win or something like that. Which is like, okay, what does that mean?
I never watched Star Wars until I was in my 30s and watched it just because my husband really wanted me to watch it. And someone else was pointing out to him, like, you can't stay married to someone who's never seen Star Wars. And so then I had to watch Star Wars. I think I watched 3 of them, and I don't even remember half of what it was in it. Like the Star Wars language and the stories just didn't quite sink in for me.
I get completely lost. I don't know. I don't know.
People like Star Wars pretty much also like Star Trek.
I don't know, but they both have to do with stars. So
there are 2 camps of people where there are people who like both, and then there's the camps of people like one and hate the other. It's yeah, it gets pretty brutal.
I feel like Star Trek is nerdier than Star Wars.
Well, yeah, Star Trek is more scientific, where Star Wars is all action.
Yeah, it's like a soap opera in space in the past or whatever.
Oh.
With a lot of politics.
Yeah, especially the first 3 films.
All right, it's been a lot more than 5 minutes, so we'll go ahead and resume.
Okay, New Beginnings Toastmasters Club, please come to order. We'll be moving into the evaluation portion of our event this evening. Let's welcome our general evaluator, David Marshall.
All right, we'll go into our evaluations portion, and we have, since I guess Hans didn't show up, our second speaker is Andrew Bullock. Jeet, you were originally scheduled to evaluate. Did you evaluate, Andrew?
I spoke with Sean. He has agreed to do so.
Okay, so I will call on Mr. Sean Markle to evaluate Mr. Andrew Bullock. Sean, you have the lecture.
All right, awesome. And I apologize ahead of time. I didn't really write too much because I wasn't sure if I was supposed to evaluate Andrew, but I did anyways. But there's not much to it, so it might be really short. But going on to my evaluation, Andrew, I thought your speech was really creative and well thought out. It ties in perfectly with today's date, which is May the 4th. Let's see. And throughout the speech, your speech basically really was an eye opener. It was a sort of like a dark way, or the flip side of the coin, to look at Star Wars. Are Jedi's really the heroes, or are they the villains? And one thing I really enjoyed about your speech is your body language. I thought your body language really brought your speech to life. For example, when you were talking about, I'm sorry, I didn't get the specifics, but you're talking about someone being a traitor, and the Jedi's arrested him. You did these like air quotes type of things. I thought that was really impressive. And also, another example would be when, I don't remember the specific context, but you said something about, and what do you know? I'm not sure what the context was, but you had your hands up and you had a high pitch excited voice, and I thought that was really impressive too. And another thing that I really enjoyed about your speech was the organization. Your speech was really organized. Your introduction really hooked me into your speech. And then your main point was, are Jedi's heroes or are they villains? And you gave specific examples throughout your speech that I really enjoyed too. Like, let's see, how you talked about the Clone Wars, the Seths, and also the Jedis. And also another thing I want to point out is you talked about the separation of church/state, and your specific examples and context really hit the main point or main message of our Jedi's heroes or villains right on the head, I believe. And I, for one, definitely have a different point of view on Star Wars now. And let's see. For my evaluation criteria, I mostly gave you 5s and 4s for all the options like clarity, vocal variety, eye contact, gestures, audience awareness, comfort level, and interest. I think your topic definitely interested everyone since today's May 4th. And one thing I would recommend you implement more into your speech is vocal variety. I noticed that when you're first introducing your main message of our Jedi's evil or heroes, I think something that you could add on that would draw us even more is make it more like suspenseful, like your voice, and make your voice sound like I'm trying to think of something to say. I think you should add a pause instead of just keep on going forward with what you were saying, because I think it would add more suspense. And overall, I really enjoyed your speech and good work. And back to you guys.
All right, Sean, thank you for your evaluation of Andrew's speech. Guess we're going to go, before I get into my general evaluation for the meeting, I guess we'll do our helper roles. And for the first helper role report, I would like to call on our grammarian counter, Ms. Asha. Would you briefly and concisely give us your role report, please?
Yes. I did not notice any grammatical errors today. I always have high hopes when I do this role that I will be listening so intently that I will catch all of the ahs and ands, etc. But for example, with Zach, I would not even have noticed his likes because I get so focused on the content that I rather miss those. So Zach apparently had many more likes than I realized. So I'm giving him 1. I'm giving myself 10 plus on the filler word and. Angelique, I noticed that you said twice and like once, and that is my role. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator. Or that is.
All right, thank you. No, I am general. I'm wearing several hats today, so I have my general evaluator hat on right now. So you're correct. Our next helper role is our word master. Listen up, Miss Elizabeth Clare, and the lovely dog.
Hi, the word obliterate was used by Tammy and Zach, and right now there is lightning very close to us. My dog is afraid she'll be obliterated. Is there anyone else who used the word that I didn't catch?
Obliterate.
Okay.
I did.
You did? Oh, yes. And Asha, thank you. So, were you listening? How many Sith Lords are there at one time?
2.
Yes.
2.
Who said he was going to turn off the video during table topics because he didn't know much about Star Wars?
David.
Yes. Who do we find ourselves rooting for in the Star Wars movie?
Jedi.
Jedi's.
Yes. How long did the Clone Wars last?
7
3 years.
Is that right?
3.5 years.
I didn't write down the
3.5.
answer.
Okay.
Who said in the movie, "Do or do not, there is no try"?
Yoda.
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 Yoda, right. What was Asha making and what spices did she put into her?
Ooh, I know one. That's chicken salad.
Chicken salad, that's right.
Tarragon
And what
was
spices
one of the
did she put in?
ingredients.
Tarragon, dill, sea salt,
Right.
Portobello.
Okay.
everything.
Who helped David get back to his ship when he was lost?
God. The big guy. God.
God. Yes, God. Who said it's our job to focus on the positive?
Tammy.
Tammy, right. What is Anjik's mantra?
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Whatever you can do. Who works at Harris Teeter and what title does he carry?
On.
Right. Sean?
John Markle.
And what's his title?
Frozen and dairy stacker extraordinaire.
What is your title, Sean?
Exactly what David said.
Okay, right. Who spoke of strained relationships that she might kill off the memory of?
Jamie.
Are you listening?
Andrew
said
said
Jamie.
Jamie, yeah. Who sees his mind as a garden where he has to pick out the weeds, plant new seeds?
That on G? Oh, sad.
It was that, right. And who has a hard time telling a lie?
Zach.
Zach, yes. Good. That's all I have, Mr. General Evaluator. Back to you.
All right. Thank you very much for your roll reports. I believe that's it for roll reports. We already had our
timer support for
time
evaluator.
for what?
Evaluation.
Oh yes, Miss Timer. We have a timer report for evaluation, please.
Yes, the time for Sean's evaluation was 3:47.
All right. So we have qualifying table topics that I will announce at the end of this event. And now I'll go to my general evaluation. Let me actually unmute so I don't have to. Okay, so I like that the agenda was sent out early. I think that was very good for filling up our agenda and having it full by the start of the event. But we still had to do we started on time. We still had to freshen up the agenda. It took a little bit of our event time in the beginning, but we still got through that. So I guess we should help our members with their roles before we start the event, just to make sure that we're all on the same page and we all can get the most out of what we're doing and just benefit. I think that would help us all. There was a little confusion about who was going to do the evaluation, so maybe we can try to maybe sidebar that and just make sure that we're all on the same page concerning that, just so that when I'm doing it, it's better that we all get the experience of evaluating and receiving an evaluation, because it's all about practicing these skills. So it's about practicing how to time, practicing how to listen for words, practicing with others, practice. It's all about practicing, and that's what we're here to do, to help each other grow and become better and more confident with our public speaking. And trust me, it all translates to what we do every day in our jobs. What we practice here will translate out into the real world. So we definitely want to use this forum to practice those skills. So Sean, you did a great job in evaluating. Considering that you still did a great job on taking notes. The only thing I would, I think what you did well was you had some great examples and specific examples from Andrew's speech that you liked, and he had some really that he could work on. And I believe there was a challenge, but it's probably better to really point out and pinpoint that I would like you to work on this challenge so that it's very clear what you're expecting for. Kind of murky, I suppose. It wasn't very clear. The only thing I would challenge you in terms of your evaluation is to maybe use a little less examples, because maybe about half of your time was spent on maybe 3 examples are specific and why you're picking those, and then end with a challenge. And also you might want to take notes and practice glancing down at your notes, because you really want to speak to the audience. Not, you want to try to speak to the audience, or actually you want to speak to the speaker, because that's who you're doing the evaluation to. But other than that, you did a fantastic job in the evaluation, and I want to thank you for doing that. That's all. Over Toastmaster of the evening, Mr. Lee Walker.
All right, thank you, David. I want to thank all Toastmasters for coming together and pulling this event together. I think we had another great meeting, and Zach came up with some great challenging table topics for us. Again, we pointed out Sean did a very good job with his evaluation. I think that may have been his first or second evaluation. Jingy Lee did a great job on timing. I left out a few things like taking a pause and 1 minute for evaluation and minor things like that. But that type of information is important to pass on to the timer role so that we can improve and do well. So I want to thank everybody for stepping up for the roles tonight. You did a good job. And I'll turn it back over to our president.